Hello everyone. This time we will talk about simplifying algebraic expressions. So our objective would be to simplify given an algebraic expression. So the question that you have in your mind might be, how will you simplify an algebraic expression? So just remember our previous lesson, combine like terms. So how will you combine like terms? Just simply add the numerical coefficients of like terms and copy the common literal coefficient. So let's have an example. The instruction is just to simplify the given algebraic expression. So of course, the first step would always be to identify the like terms in the expression. So this is our given from our previous video. You have 2x and 8x as our like terms because they have the same literal coefficient, which is x. So just copy, and perhaps you put the like terms next to each other for us to easily identify what to do. So when you combine like terms again, we simply add the numerical coefficients and copy the common literal coefficient. So from 2x and 8x, we have 10x. So how did we get 10x? So just remember that is simply 2 plus 8 because these are the numerical coefficient, and then they share the same literal coefficient, so just copy it. And then you have the constant term. So 8 plus 2 is 10. So 10x minus 5. So this is our final answer. Let's have another example, number 2. 3x cubed minus 4x plus 5x cubed plus 7 minus 2x cubed minus 5. So our very first step is to identify our like terms. And perhaps we put the like terms next to each other. So we start from 3x cubed. Okay. Its like terms are the following. So we have 5x cubed because they have the same literal coefficient x cubed. So perhaps you put it next to it. And then you have minus 2x cubed. Okay, and then next, you have 4x minus 4x, but it doesn't have a like term, so you just copy it. The next is 7 and 5. So just copy 7 and then put minus 5 afterwards. So now, remember that these are like terms. We just add the numerical coefficients of each terms. So 3, 5, and 2. And they have the same literal coefficient, x cubed. So you just have to write it once. The next, copy negative 4x. Then automatically, you can already combine 7 minus 5. 7 minus 5 is 2. So, okay, this is not a plus but a minus. So 3 plus 5 is 8. 8 minus 2 is 6. So that's why it's 6x cubed minus 4x plus 2. And this is our final answer. Let's have our third example. We have 3x squared minus 4x plus 6x minus x squared plus 11. So let's try to identify the like terms. Okay, we'll start with 3x squared. Perhaps we will put the like terms next to each other. And 3x squared has a literal coefficient x squared as well as this one. So that's minus x squared. Then next, you have negative 4x or minus 4x. Its like term would be plus 6x because they have the same literal coefficient x. And then lastly, The constant term doesn't have a like term, so you just write plus 11. So now, um, combine like terms by adding the numerical coefficient and by copying the common literal coefficient. So this is 3 minus, okay, does it mean that there's no number here, then there's no numerical coefficient? That means that there's an imaginary 1 there. So 3 minus 1. Then the common literal coefficient is x squared. Then next, perhaps it's safe when you put a plus. Then here, when you enclose it in a parenthesis, you can think of it as a sign of 4. So negative 4. So negative 4 plus 6. Okay, just think of it as this way. So it's like saying this is a minus, so we're supposed to change that to a plus, and then the 4 becomes negative 4. That's what we did. They share the same literal coefficient, which is x, so you put x here. Then the constant. So 3 minus 1 is 2, so 2x squared. Negative 4 plus 6 is 2 as well, so 2x, then plus 11. So this is our answer. Let's have our example 4. The length of a leg of an isosceles triangle is x over 4y centimeter. The length of its base is 5x over y centimeter. Write a simplified algebraic expression representing the perimeter of the isosceles triangle. To answer this, let us try to understand the problem first. So we're given with the length, okay? The length of an isosceles triangle. So we need to recall first what's an isosceles triangle. So when you say a triangle, a figure with three sides. So isosceles should have at least two equal sides. Those are what we call the leg. So again, the legs are equal. And then you have the base, which is here, with different length. So it says that the leg is x over 4y cm. So if this is x over 4y, the other leg must be x over 4y as well. So that's a property of an isosceles triangle. And the base now is 5x over y. Since we're talking about perimeter is all about the sum of the side lengths. Okay, let's say sum of all the side lengths. So we just have to add all those three, and then we will get the perimeter, and probably there's a variable. So in other words, we will come up with an expression as our final answer, not a numerical value, since there are unknown values here represented by the x and the y. So what we will need to do, we follow that. We just add all the sides. So that's the length of the leg plus another leg plus the base. So the leg is x over 4y. The second leg is also x over 4y. And the base is 5x over y. So now as you can see, all of the three are like terms. So how did I know that they are like terms? Because the literal coefficient here is x over y. Same here, x over y. And same here, x over y. So if these are like terms having the same literal coefficient, you just have to copy the x over y, and then we just have to add the numerical coefficients of each terms. So what is the numerical coefficient here? So it is not just a 4. The 4 is in the denominator. And take note, there is always a 1 beside the variable x. So that's 1/4 plus, same here, that's 1/4. And here, the 5 is already in the numerator, and the y has a numerical coefficient which is 1. So 5 over 1 is just 5. So now, we're adding 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 5. 1/4 plus 1/4, if you remember, they have the same denominator. So we just have to copy the common denominator and add the numerators. So that will give us 2/4. And 2/4 is, if you can simplify, you can still simplify it by dividing a 2 in both parts. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. Then 4 divided by 2 is 2. So we're now adding 1/2 with a 5. So if they have different denominators, so that means that we have to multiply, we have to find the LCD first. So the LCD of our denominators, 2 and 1, because it's the denominator of the 5, the LCD would just be a 2. So for 1/2, it's already a 2 in the denominator, so no need to do anything. But the 5 has a 1 in the denominator, so we still have to multiply a 2 over 2. So this will result to positive 1/2 plus 5 times 2, 10. 10 over 2. So there you go. They have the same denominators already. That means we can just copy the common denominator, 2, and then add the numerators. 1 plus 10 is 11. So the answer is 11x over 2y. Don't forget that we're talking about cm, or a perimeter. So there's a unit cm. So enclose the expression and then cm afterwards. So this is the perimeter of our isosceles triangle. So the answer is 11x to y centimeters. Okay, let's have example 5. So what if it turns out like this? We are asked to simplify 4 times the quantity of 3y minus 6y minus 4 plus 12. So first, we still follow PEMDAS. We need to simplify first whatever's inside the parentheses. So notice that 3y and 6y are like terms because they have the same literal coefficient, which is y. So copy the y, and then that's 3 minus 6. And then here, we have minus 4, but we can think of it as plus negative 4 plus 12. And both of them are like terms because they are both constant terms. So what will happen now to your 3 minus 6? 3 minus 6, you have to make it a plus. Then get the opposite of positive 6 to negative 6. So they have different signs. This is positive, this is negative. So in other words, you need to subtract both numbers. 6 minus 3 is a 3. Then the sign of of negative 6 is negative. That's the absolute value of negative 6 is greater than the absolute value of a 3. So we copy the sign of negative 6. So negative 3y. And then the constant terms, they have different signs. So we need to subtract them. 12 minus 4 is 8. Then the sign of 12 is positive. We follow the sign of 12 because it's greater than a 4. So now, if it turns out like this, 4, then there's still a group. There's a number outside the parenthesis. It's understandable that the operation is multiplication if there's nothing between a number and a group. When that happens, don't forget our first quarter lesson. What we need to follow is distributive property. So we just have to substitute or distribute rather 4 to each terms because terms are separated by a plus. So 4 times negative 3y, that would be negative 12y. Then 4 times the second term of the group, 4 times 8 is 32. And this is now our final answer. You will know that it's your final answer if you cannot really simplify it anymore. And there will be no more like terms. So let's have B now. We have here negative 3 times the quantity of xy minus 5xy plus 6 minus 4xy plus xy. So now, as I said, when there's a group, always make sure that whatever is inside the parentheses, it's in simplest form, meaning there will be no more like terms. So looking at it, the literal coefficient here is xy. The literal coefficient here is as well as xy, same as here. So we just have to copy xy and then we combine our numerical coefficients. So for xy, doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that you don't see a number before it, then no numerical coefficient. It means that it's a 1. Then here, the numerical coefficient here is a 5. But since it's a minus, so we're supposed to change this minus to a plus later part. So the 5 becomes a negative 5. So as early as now, think of it as a sign of, of the 5. So negative 5. So plus negative 5. And then the last term, I'll just make it big. The last term is a minus as well, minus 4. So you can think of it as plus negative 4 in your mind. So we're adding a negative 4. So don't forget, they have the same literal coefficient xy. So just copy it. And don't forget, we still have the last term, so plus 6. So 1 plus negative 5 is negative 4. Negative 4 plus negative 4 is negative 8. So this would be negative 8 xy plus 6. Then afterwards, you will notice that in the group, you don't see any operation between negative 3 and the group. In other words, the operation here is an imaginary multiplication, and there are two terms here in the group. So we still have to distribute the negative 3. So negative 3 times negative 8xy, negative 3 times negative 8 is positive 24. So don't forget there's an xy. Then negative 3, distribute it to 6. Negative 3 times 6 is negative 18. So this would be a minus 18. Then, lastly, notice that you might be thinking that this would be your final answer already, but always review your work. Make sure that there are no more like terms. That's how you will check whether it's your final answer or not yet. In our case here, these terms, 24xy and xy, are like terms. They share the same literal coefficient, xy. So, we do the same thing. We add the numerical coefficients. That's 24 in here. And then here is 1. Then the common literal coefficient is xy. 24 plus 1 is 25. So 25xy minus 18 is our final answer. Let's have our last example, example 6. So this would be quite long, so you just have to be very patient how you will get the answer. So copy first, 2x minus, we have braces, 6x minus 3, then bracket, 5 minus 4x minus 3, plus 1, minus x plus 4, braces. So this time, you'll always begin with the innermost. The innermost would be the ones inside the parentheses. So inside the parentheses is 4x minus 3. And that's already in simplest form. So that means you move to the next hierarchy. Okay, wait. Okay, that's 4x minus 3. But notice that outside it, before it is a minus, right? So that means we're supposed to change that minus to a plus. So that's the rule in subtracting integers. So minus to plus, but the ones on its right, you should get its opposite. And what is in its right? The 4x minus 3, the group. That means you need to get the opposite of 4x. So that will become a negative 4x. And then on this one, instead of negative 3 or a minus 3, this will become a plus 3. So you can already omit the parentheses. So next, we don't have the parentheses anymore. The next hierarchy is to deal with whatever is inside our bracket. So we simplify whatever is inside our bracket. Okay, so looking at it, again, this is our focus this time. Notice that 5 and 3 and 1 can be combined because all of them are constant terms. 5 plus 3 is 8 plus 1 is 9. Okay, we're not yet done because at the first place, inside the group, 9 minus 4x, there is a number outside it which is negative 3. Okay, so negative 3 times, that's negative 3 times the group. So we still have to distribute the negative 3. So think of this already as the sign of the 3, okay? You can think of it that way. So negative 3 times 9, then you have to distribute it as well to negative 4x. So negative 3 times 9 is negative 27. Negative 3 times negative 4x is positive 12x. Since you're done distributing, the bracket will be erased already. So now, your next focus is whatever is inside the braces. So you combine like terms. So just like before, okay, 6x, 12x, and x are like terms. So you can do it, you can skip already writing all of the solution. So you can think of it as 6x plus 12x. So 6 plus 12, so that's 18. Okay, yes, that's 18. And then minus x. So 18 minus 1 is 17. So you write 17x. The next, negative 27 and 4 are like terms because both are constant terms. They have different signs, so you need to subtract them. 27 minus 4 is 23. Then this is larger compared to a 4. So you follow the sign of 27, which is negative. So now, whatever is inside the braces, it's already simplified. So you deal with the ones outside it. So this is a minus again. So if that's a minus, we copy 2x here. But we change minus to plus. But we need to get the opposite of each terms here inside our braces. So from 17x, that will become negative 17x. From negative 23 to positive 23. And finally, you still have the like terms here with an x as a literal coefficient. So 2 plus negative 17. Ganito na lang. So 2 plus negative 17x plus 23. They have different signs. So subtract. 17 minus 2 is 15. 17 is greater than a 2. So we follow the sign of negative 17. So negative 15. Negative 15x plus 23. This is now our final answer.